Okay? And behold, there appeared unto him.
There appeared unto them Moses and Elias, talking with him.
Okay, so now we got Old Testament saints showing up. Didn't he die?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happened to Elijah? Okay, so one dead, one got caught up. So why are they coming to talk to Jesus?
Coffee time?
Coffee. Coffee. Okay. Okay. I think it's a very interesting journey here. Okay, and then answered Peter. That's a problem.
Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elias. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.
Okay.
Hear you him.
All right. So we got a cloud. Cloud overshadowed them. Cloud in the scriptures always has to do with administration. Okay? So a cloud shows up. So 1 Corinthians talks about all of our fathers were baptized in a cloud, and baptized under Moses, and baptized into the sea, right? So we're talking about an administration. So, and the new administration shows up on the mountain, and out of the cloud, God points and says, now, I don't understand if you just said I was the Christ, why you wanted to go back and make a tabernacle. Those two don't go together, right? How can I be the Christ, the Kabod, the glory of God, and you want to put me back in this container? So the message was about sonship. This is my son, in whom I am well pleased. So the system of truths was God trying to show us a pattern for sonship.
Right.
You got it? All right, now, Acts 15. Y'all not. Am I connecting for y'all? Okay, Acts 15. So here we go. Now, you know sonship, you heard me talk about the foundation of the apostles and prophets. Sonship was really not the terminology of Jerusalem. Sonship was the terminology of Antioch. You don't really hear about sonship till Paul comes upon the scene.
Right.
Okay, so within the church, you've got this other paradigm shift called the real church, what I call the sons of God. All right, and Jerusalem would have never accepted Gentiles, right? And Peter would have never fathered any of them either, right? So that didn't come up on the scene until we get down to Antioch, and we're talking about Paul, and we're talking about Paul and Silas and Barnabas and all those individuals, right?
Right.
So in Acts chapter 15 is this huge, big, nasty church meeting about what they're going to do about the Gentiles. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
And the scripture said, and when I say nasty, I don't want y'all to think that I'm making it up. Verse 2 said, there was no small dissimulation, no small dissension and disputation with them, for they determined that Peter and Barnabas and certain of the other them should go up to Jerusalem to the apostles and elders about this question. The question is, what are we going to do with these Gentile folk? You got me?
Right.
So it was a nasty meeting. All right, verse 13, James gets up, and James started talking. He said, after they had held their peace, James answered, and he said, read for me, man and...
Brethren, hearken unto me.
Yeah.
Simon has declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name, and to go and to this agree the words of the prophets, as it is written. After this I will return and build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down. But I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, says the Lord, who does all these things. Known unto God are all this work from the beginning of the world.
Wait a minute. So, let me see if I read this right. It said, Simon had declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name, right? And then he said, to this all the prophets agree. And then they go back and start talking about build again the tabernacle of David, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord and all the Gentiles. So they're connecting this whole move amongst Gentiles to the raising up of the tabernacle of David. Did I read that right? Yeah. No, wait a minute. Why don't we raise Solomon's temple? It was pretty. Wasn't it? It was glorious. It was beautiful. All right? But that's not what God wants to raise. He wants to go back, and he said, and he wants to raise, will build again the tabernacle of David, which has fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and then I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called. So you want to draw all these Gentile nations to a tent? So was David really an Old Testament pattern for all the nations of the world? So was Zion going to be just for the children of Israel, or was Zion really earmarked for the nations? Nations. Psalms 102. Oh yeah, we getting somewhere now. I felt y'all engaged for a moment. I felt y'all kind of kicked in for a moment. So there is something about David that was going to be an international figure. Okay? So it was going to be broader than Judah. It was going to be broader than the other 11 tribes. It was going to be broader than Israel. There was something that God was going to do in David, in this tent, on Zion, that was going to affect the nations of the world. So then, if our scriptures text, if Hebrews 12 and 22 says God is inviting us up to this city, then we ought to be able to see some pattern in the scriptures that Zion was earmarked for international flow.
Okay.
Yeah? Come on, I'm talking to somebody. Ooh, come on, stay with me. Stay with me. All right, you ready? Psalm 102, verse 13. Thou shalt arise and have mercy upon Zion, for the time to favor her, yea, the set time is come. Right? All right, so we're talking about the tabernacle of David that was set in Zion. God says now he's going to build Zion again. He's going to build it from the ruins. So God's got a season. He's got a set time that he's going to return and have mercy upon Zion. Right? For thy servants take pleasure in her stones. Well, we just read in Acts 15 that it's a ruin. Right? But there are going to be some, look at it, servants that will take pleasure in her stones and favor the dust. Wait a minute. Did Isaiah prophesy about a group that says, they that be of thee shall rebuild the waste places? Huh? So build up desolate stuff, repairs in the breach. So God is speaking of a people that are coming upon the scene in this hour that's going to have a resurrection mentality. They're going to look at dust and stone and everything else that the body thinks is falling apart and say, I'm going to speak a word over this chaos. I see stuff coming. Who might he be talking about?
Okay.
Ooh, glory. Come on. Stay with me. Look what it says. So the heathen shall fear the name of the Lord, and all of the kings of the earth thy glory. When the Lord shall build up Zion, he will appear in his glory. So what if God is saying, all I have to do is get some like-minded individuals to say, let's resurrect some dust. Let's build some waste places. And God said, I'm going to appear in the midst of that kind of people that have the mentality to want to build what I say that I'm going to favor.
Okay.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's keep going. Isaiah 52. Come on. Isaiah Isaiah 52. Got it? Verse 8 is what I want. You ready? Somebody read for me. And?
Thy watchmen shall lift up the voice, with the voice together shall they sing. For they shall see eye to eye, when the Lord shall bring against Zion.
All right, so here is a clue. Watchmen are going to start seeing eye to eye. Right? Mm-hmm. They're going to start gathering to sing. And God said, this is going to be an indicator that I'm building Zion. See, I think that next week we're walking into a strategic opportunity for God to say, I'm going to declare some stuff over Zion. Watchmen are coming. We're going to see eye to eye. And God said, when that happens, right? It says, for they shall see eye to eye when the Lord shall build against Zion. So what if our gatherings are indicators that God is saying, I'm trying to build residue. I'm trying to build waste places. It's just not a gathering to eat. I'm trying to restore some things that have fallen apart, that have fallen into desolation. Maybe even raise some dead stuff in some individuals. Uh-huh. Yeah, I like that. Uh-huh. Isaiah 28. Mm-hmm. Am I the only one excited? It's all right. I've been excited by myself before. Isaiah 28, verse 16. Here's the pattern. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone. What kind of stone? So what kind of? Sure. All right, so Isaiah prophesied this. Now, imagine how many years this was before our verse in Hebrews chapter 12. God said, I laid in the foundation of Zion a what? Foundation. For, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation of stone. Okay, so here's David. How did David get the city? How did he get it? Didn't he have to fight some people? Didn't he have to fight some people to get the city? Y'all don't remember reading that, right? Huh? Yeah, he had to fight some people. They're called the Jebusites, right? So now wait a minute. Let's connect the spiritual truth. I lay in Zion for a foundation of stone. Well, if the physical city had a foundation called a stone, who was the stone of the city? Well, the verse that we're talking about, who is God talking about? He's talking about Jesus. So we got this physical city that is a picture or a natural manifestation of a spiritual city. What was the stone that Zion, the city, was grounded on? David. Overtime. Who was it? It was David.
That's what I said. Who was
David? Was this? If the spiritual city, Zion, was grounded on the Lord Jesus Christ, then we've got to have a pattern in the physical city. Who was going to be the spiritual, who was going to be the symbol in the physical city of that spiritual principle? It was going to be somebody's life. And it was David. Come on, I'm not making it up. Let me show you the word. Come on. Y'all say with me, can I finish this up? I will let you know. All right. Okay, let's go to 1 Chronicles chapter 17. 1 Chronicles 17. First Chronicles chapter 17. 1 Chronicles chapter 17. See, David and God had a very unique relationship. Mm-hmm. Y'all know that, right? Yeah. So when God says, I have found me a man after my own heart, you know, God wasn't just not making little cutie notes on a piece of paper. Right? God was trying to declare something. God was trying to say something. Now think about this. Thousands of years later, this big, huge, ugly beating is going on in the church, and the prophets are testifying and agree that about all the stuff that God could resurrect and bring attention to, he could have pulled out Abraham, could have pulled out Enoch. He said, I want to rebuild the tabernacle of David. You don't understand. There's something in the ruins. There's something in the foundation of this tabernacle that's going to draw all of the Gentiles back to me. Y'all. I'm trying to make a play. All right. Here we go. Where did I tell you to go?
1 Chronicles 17.
Okay, let me see if that's right. Let me move over there. I think that's right. All right. It should be the text where Nathan and David are having a conversation.
Yes.
Is that where I'm at?
Yes.
And David says, verse 2. Am I there? And Nathan said to David.
Nathan said to David, do all that is in thy heart, for God is with thee.
So what does David want to do?
Build a house for God.
He wants to build a house for God. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Right? Come on, y'all. Y'all here? Come on. I just need a few more minutes. I'm going to let you go. I am. All right? And Nathan says, oh, David, I think that's a good thing. Right? And he's all excited. He's been preparing all of his life for this. And while Nathan is going, what happens? God checks Nathan and says, do what?
Go and tell David my servant, thus saith the Lord, thou shalt not build me a house.
So Nathan says to David, God said, you cannot build me a house. And how's David about that? How's David feel about this? He's like kind of crushed. Well, why? Why would God tell David this? I thought God loved David.
He's a man of war and blood.
Yeah, but didn't God sit in the war? God is the one sitting in the war. See, that's not the whole answer. All right, let's keep reading. That's not really it. Let's keep going. Go and tell David my servant, thus saith the Lord, thou shalt not build me an house to dwell in, for I have not dwelt in a house since the day that I brought up Israel unto this day, but I have gone from tent to tent, and from one tabernacle to another. Wheresoever I have walked with all Israel, right? Spake I a word to any of the judges of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people, saying, why have you not built me a house of cedar? Now therefore, thus saith God, thus shalt thou say unto thy servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took you from the sheepcote, even from following the sheep, that thou shouldest be ruler over my people Israel. And I have been with thee whithersoever thou hast walked, and have cut off thine enemies from before thee, and have made thee a great name, like the name of the great men that are in the earth. Also, I will ordain a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their place, and they shall move no more, neither shall the children of wickedness waste them any more, as at the beginning. And since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, moreover, I will subdue all thine enemies. Furthermore, I tell thee, woo! I gotta have a shower moment. Do you see it?
Yes.
What did God say? Yeah. I'm going to build thee an house. I don't want you building me a house, because I'm going to build you. So David could not build what he already was. Now, you say, well, how could that be? David's life was raggedy, kind of trifling in situations, stealing people's wives, right? Didn't they do it? Right? Didn't they do it? Went out and numbered the children of Israel. God didn't tell him that. He's got some questionable behavior. Why would God build the house that David don't quite adequately right now looks like something God wants to fill? Well, I got a better question. Does he not fill us? And does every room and every wall and every chamber look like something that God put together right now. Okay, but watch the language. Watch what God says. And it shall come to pass that when thy days are expired, that thou mayest go to be with thy fathers, and I will raise up thy seed after thee, which shall be of thy sons, and I will establish his throne forever. And he shall build me a house. Who's he talking about? Solomon. And I will establish what? I will be his father. He shall be my son. And look what God says to him. 13. Y'all want me to read it?
I will not take my mercy away from him.
As I took it. As I took it from, he's talking about who now? Saul. But I will settle him in mine house and in my kingdom forever, and his throne shall be an everlasting. So why is God saying this to David about Solomon? Now, you know, God knows what's in David. And he certainly knows what's going to happen with Solomon. So God is saying now, there will always be a way for Solomon to get back to me. I will never withdraw mercy from him.
Right.
Lord have mercy. They don't get it any better than that. Okay? Now watch. From this moment, I've just got a few more, then I'm going to close it. From this moment, David is working on the house. Got me? I want you to go up to 22. Chapter 22. Chapter 22. All right? So, it says now, this is the house of the Lord God, and this is the altar of the burnt offering of Israel. And David commanded to gather together the strangers that were in the land of Israel. And he sent masons to hew rock stones to build the house of God. And see in verse 3, and David did what?
Prepared.
So David started preparing. He is laying up stuff for Solomon to actually build the house, right?
Right.
But I want you to see something. And David said, Solomon, my son, is young and tender, and the house. Okay, so why would God let Solomon build a house that God knew was not going to last? Because of David.
Oh, I see.
He loved David that much. So keep reading. All right, it's got to be exceeding magnificent, a fame and of glory throughout all what? So you see, the temple was supposed to be a fame and a reputation for all countries. I will therefore now make.
Preparation for.
So David. Okay, you got this?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so this is what David says to Solomon, verse 7. Son, as for me, it was.
In my mind, to build a house to the name of the Lord.
Uh-huh.
But the word of the Lord came to me, saying, thou shalt have shed blood.
Do you remember this word? Y'all remember this word? Okay, keep reading. The word of the Lord came to him and said, what? All right.
If thou hast shed blood motherly and have made great war, thou shalt not build a house unto my name, because thou hast shed much blood upon the earth in my sight.
Okay, keep going.
Behold, a son shall be born unto thee, who shall be a man of rest. And I will give him rest from all his enemies round about, for his name shall be Solomon. And I will give peace and quiet to Israel in his days.
All right, keep
He
going.
shall build a house for my name, and he shall be my son, and I will be his father. And I will establish the throne of his kingdom over all Israel forever. And now, my son, the Lord be with thee, prosper thee, and build the house of the Lord thy God, as he has said unto thee.
Yeah.
Only the Lord give thee wisdom and understanding, and give thee charge concerning Israel, that thou mayest keep the law of the Lord thy God.
Mhm.
And thou shalt prosper if thou takest heed to fulfill the statutes and judgments which the Lord regarded Moses with concerning Israel.
Right.
Be strong and of good courage. Dread not, nor be dismayed.
Now watch this. Now, behold,
In my trouble
I
I have
have-
prepared for the house of
there
the Lord
you go.
100,000 talents of gold.
No, you went too far. Now, behold,
In my trouble
in my trouble,
I have prepared for the house of the Lord.
I have prepared. There it is. David began to discern that all of his trouble was the preparation for the house.
Mm.
So when we get up to 28, David says, verse 11, then gave David to Solomon his son the pattern. So what David is going to communicate to Solomon is patterns that he learned, talking about systems of truth, things that David got on the mountain with God, that he's going to communicate to Solomon. He talks about there's patterns for the porches, patterns for the treasuries, there's patterns for this, there's patterns for this. But then he says, he got some things, verse 19, all this said David, the Lord made me understand in writing by his hand upon me, even all the works of this pattern. 12 said, he said, I got a pattern of all that he had by the Spirit. So David got some things by the Spirit of God.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
No.
Huh? I'm still in chapter 28. I'm in 1 Chronicles 28. I was reading verse 11. I read verse 12. I jumped over and read verse 19. And this, said David, he's at the end of all that, after he tells about all the patterns and stuff. He said, and this, said David, the Lord made me understand in writing by his hand upon me, even all the works of this pattern. So there's some things that were engraved in David's spirit and as being by the hand of the Lord that he communicated to his son Solomon, because he was the blueprint for what Solomon was about to build.
Right.
All right, here's my last verse. All right, so you say, if this is true, if David is going to be the blueprint, then we have to find out something that connects this to national influence. You ready? And here's my verse, and then we'll be out of her. Isaiah chapter 2. I'm going to read it like a preacher. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations, I think I just said it, shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. He will teach us of his ways. We will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Woo! And he shut the book. Hallelujah. So did y'all hear it? God always intended this spot, this location, Zion, to be the gathering place of all nations. And look at how God had honored us. That I'm going to make you the gates thereof. Okay? Father, we thank you for your word. We thank you for the access and opportunity you have bestowed upon us to be portals through which nations, lifestyles, peoples, understanding, cultures, mindsets can come to know you. May our gates swing wide now. Is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless.